they had the first kid, all love. That kid's a shithead, obviously, right? They go crazy. They're like, oh, we're gonna have another kid just so we can beat it, right? They have me beat the shit out of me, right? And I was a good beat kid. I was always like, no, and I would empower them. My brother did some shit, smiled or something, right? And so my mom hit him, right? Straight up bash. My brother looks at my mom and is like, do it again. And my mom was so freaked out that she didn't hit him again.
Wow.
It's for real.
He got out of it by asking for it.
You're listening to the Dear Buddies podcast.
You will grow from boys into men.
Whatever, dude.
What does that look? Don't get weird on me.
Hey, buddy.
For all those questions you can't bring yourself to ask your friends, ask your buddies.
Welcome back to the Dear Buddies podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Rate, review, subscribe, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, all that stuff. We're not going to harp on that too much. Thanks for being here.
I'm tired.
You're tired?
Yeah, it's been hot.
It's hot in New York City. It's a lot cooler in this room because we're missing somebody.
I thought you were going to say we got Daddy Cool here.
Our beloved Christopher Scopo is stuck in traffic, so we're recording without him. He said he was going to make it, but we told him don't bother. But so yeah, today we have a very fun. I'm very excited. Well, fun. We'll see what happens. It could be fun.
Yeah.
We could cry.
Yeah.
But super funny comic here in New York. You've seen him on a ton of stuff. He has his own podcast called Mango Bae.
What's up?
Usama Siddiquee.
How y'all doing?
Come on.
What's up?
Give it up.
What's going on? How y'all doing? This is exciting. I love y'all. Y'all are some hilarious dudes, and I always fucking love hanging out with y'all.
Thanks for doing the podcast. I've known you for a while now. I've seen you when you started comedy. You're doing really well, and you're really, really funny. So,
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
It's good to see.
So we asked you, because we like to talk to our guests first and say, hey, this is what the podcast is about.
Right.
We're trying to figure out what emotional vulnerability is. What does that look like for guys that are just like, we're just not built that way?
Especially male comics.
Especially comics.
Sure.
We deflect very easily.
God.
And then you said pretty quickly, from what I understand, was you wanted to talk about your parents.
Sure, bro.
So our question is off the top.
Yeah.
Why? What made you say my parents?
Well, two things. One, because it's a point of huge contention in my life. Because there's a big shift in how they're treating me now. And it's kind of intense. Because my whole life they didn't treat me with anything but distance. Love for my mom, dad more distant, but now my dad's trying to cash in on some dad love, and I'm like, well, what? It's like he's trying to treat me like we've always played catch together.
Interesting.
Right.
And I feel like y'all are Italian, and Italians are just the same thing. I feel like. Immigrant-wise,
We were talking about that.
Italians beat their kids. They have a weird time with emotion because it's the Catholic shit.
Yeah, it is that Catholic
Muslim
guilt.
shit, Catholic shit.
It is.
Did you guys have like a wooden spoon? Like, what did you
Wooden
get beat
spoon,
with?
bro. Get out. Yes.
Yeah. Was it a spoon?
By the end of the childhood, it was a baton because the spoon was so eroded.
I thought there may be some sort of Italian stir sauce
And then beat the
with
kids.
the wooden spoon and hit it. Is there
Of course,
like
100%. There's a curry thing. They're eating. They're cooking food.
I didn't feel comfortable saying curry. By the way.
You said it with your eyes, and I clocked it, dude.
I was just checking out your skin. Which one is he?
And I was saying marinara right
That was the only time Mike has ever been uncomfortable around curry in his life, or saying curry.
I've never been worried about curry. That's the name of the episode.
Worry about curry. Don't
Worried
do it.
about curry.
Rape 19 times last podcast, but
It's
I
fair.
shan't curry today.
But give us the backstory. So where are you from originally? Where are your parents from?
I know you're born in Canada. I know that, right?
I'm Canadian. I'm born in Vancouver Island, and then my parents are Bengali, so that's east of India, right? So I grew up heavy-duty immigrant, lifestyle. A lot of beatings, a lot of y'all. I feel like y'all the same. Italians don't beat their kids.
Were your parents born in Canada, or
No.
They're so you're first generation.
First generation, dude.
Not Bengali.
Boom.
Right.
Well, and then they moved, to get a better life, or whatever.
How old were they when they moved?
Fucking 35 or some shit.
And then they got pregnant and had
No,
you here.
yeah. So Noel, my big brother, was already alive. So 5 years of that, and then they moved.
So your brother was born there
in Bangladesh, yeah.
Wow.
One brother, or do you have
Two. One bigger, one younger.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
What do y'all?
what were your parents? One older sister, one younger sister.
Got you.
Only child, buddy.
Okay.
I said, you're going to give the beatings. Fucking bring it on, baby.
it on.
I did it all, baby.
It explains his entire personality.
It does. It does. Hey, this is about you and your family. We'll get to me later, and Craig Fox, but we'll get to me later for sure.
So you have three brothers, or
Yeah.
there's three of you, three
Yes.
boys, and when your parents Do you see a difference between how each one of you is treated specifically?
Yeah, but of course. Well, 3 kids, right? It's always the same progression, I feel like.
And the middle one, especially if it's all guys, the middle one's a tough one,
gets
right?
hit. So gets hit. Dude, because here's the thing, they had the first kid, all love, right?
Yeah,
oh my
all
God,
love.
our first baby. That kid's a shithead, obviously, right? They go crazy. They're like, oh, we're going to have another kid just so we can beat it, right? They have me.
Just to beat
They
it.
beat the shit out of me, right? The shit.
Because
Then
it's too late for the older one.
Exactly, right? Because he's got some muscle, right? They beat me and I was a good beat kid. I was always like, no, and I would empower them. You know when you're like a bitch kid? They love a bitch kid, right?
You were covering the ribs.
Yeah, I was
They were
like,
just like, oh, he's easy.
Not the pressure points. They're like, yeah, get over here, boy.
Usama, why are you stretching? I know why I'm stretching.
So after that, there's a little bit of remorse. My little brother comes through 3 years later, and my mom is planning to beat him too. This is a true story. She's like telling me, like, listen, he's gonna get it just as rough.
She's telling
Yes. My mom would hit me, and then as I'm walking away, I see her do a little like rotary cuff movement, like still got it. So my little brother, this is true what happened. I remember one time, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. My brother did some shit. Whatever, smiled or something, right? And so my mom, this is for real, hit him, right? Straight up bash. My brother looks at my mom and is like, do it again. I love it. And my mom was so freaked out that she was creating some Albert Fish character that she didn't hit him again.
Wow.
It's for real.
He got out of it by asking for it.
How did you feel about that? You're
Dude,
like, why didn't
it's a ruse. He wants to seem like it's molesty, so like you wouldn't do it. He was smarter than I was.
Oh, wow.
He was genius. He wasn't actually into it.
Did someone tell him to do that? Like a kid from school?
Bro, he was
or-
always a genius like that, man. He was always a little smart,
What does he do now?
He's a data scientist.
Okay.
He's smart. He's
Makes
smart.
sense.
Smart kid, dude.
He knows
Son
the,
who
he
was-
knows the
Dude.
the analog.
Yeah,
Son
yeah.
who was beaten for a decade, comedian. So it makes complete sense. It's all checking
Big
out.
brother, accountant, sucks. Nothing going on there, dude.
Well, that's what always like every time anytime that would happen, it would be like you're asking for it. That's like I should have just asked for it. I should have actually asked for it.
Right.
Because I never once. I was like, no, I'm not. I should have been like, yes.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Dude, do it to me. It turns me on. You know, and then they're like, "What the fuck?"
So you got it from your mom.
Yes.
Let's
Dad.
let's back up. A little
Really?
bit. Let's back up.
My dad hit me. Your mom hit you.
It was like, brutal, but it's better if your mom hits you.
Would you go to your dad for comfort then?
My dad had no comfort though. He was also so I mean, it was still it was still brutal.
We're sorry for we're laughing, but this
I
is
know
a
it's
good
great. It's great. So it's all good. So there's no trauma left anymore. But like, I'd run to my dad crying, and he just like turned me around and pushed me back into the ring.
Into the squared circle.
It's like the worst boxing coach. You know, no water.
He would just cut your
nothing.
cheek.
Yeah.
Head back in, bud.
The iron, spin his head around, send him back into the mom. One punches you back.
That's what it is, dude. So it was that level of like, it was just brutal. You know.
Yeah.
And let me say this: I am having a great time talking about how brutal your upbringing
Dude,
was.
this is my life, dude. This is,
But there's got to be like some roots to this, and
Sure.
and you're joking about it now because you're a comic and you've obviously you've found ways to deal with it. But is there more
right.
before comedy, before you had this like outlet to like have a good time
Sure,
about it?
sure.
What was it like growing up in a situation where you had a stone cold father that
Sure.
gave you no emotional backing,
Right.
and a mom that treated you
Who gave you back hands?
Physical backing.
Do you think it was because she had no knowledge? Because I mean, parents don't know shit.
Sure.
We all believe that parents are like these all-knowing beings, but
Right.
they're having kids like, what the fuck?
Well, how
Yeah.
badly were our parents getting beaten?
Right.
A lot.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like,
that's
and
my
their
question.
grandpa must have been branded every 2 days. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
So
for
like, there's
sure.
always like a worse way to do it.
For sure.
And then before that, they were just sacrificing their babies on a pentagram. Now, it was great grandpas had it rough. And I'm being unfair to my dad. My dad was a loving guy.
Yeah.
It was just, he didn't really know the language of connection. He didn't really have. He's a genius. So he's not really, he's a little off, in his own world.
What do you mean genius?
He had like eidetic memory. He was the only guy from his village to ever escape for like 100 years. Like it was a poor motherfucking thing. He grew up with eidetic memory, which means he could just read something and just lock it in. He just
Photographic.
Photographic.
almost.
That's
Yeah,
close
yeah.
as it gets.
Yeah,
There's no such thing as photographic. What it is
it's
eidetic.
The real thing of
The
that
real
is-
thing is that.
Wow.
He's that level of just like genius. So he also has no interpersonal skills like that. He's a little on the funky side in that way. He's a great dude now. You figured it out, but. So it was never like, I never go to him like, Dad, I have problems. It's not, you could never, He wasn't the guy. My mom had no other recourse but because she didn't know the language. She is very scared in Canada, English. She has no concept of how to get things. She knows a little bit, but not enough to not feel weird. And then here comes this, kid who's just fucking with her. And there's only one way for her to feel calm is to whoop ass.
Smoke them. Yeah. Can of whoop ass.
Is she from a village as well? Or was she from a small village like your dad?
She's from a small town, not quite as poor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Is that the difference between a village and a town? Is just how much money?
So I'm trying to give you an American Pittsburgh term or something.
The townies call the poor people villagers. Is that, yeah.
Okay, if my mom was from Detroit, my dad was from Flint.
Oh,
okay.
There we go.
Look at that. Look at that, dude. Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Keep it American, buddy.
What are you doing?
I want to see some of these questions.
Yeah, there's plenty of them. I'm excited about
I
this.
thought I wrote them down. It's the heat. It's fucking me up.
The beating is interesting. It's not like exactly like in the moment there's trauma. It's just like something you assume is just part of life. If you're always getting beat.
Well, there's got to be a reason that anybody, especially like it sounds like you got it harder than most.
Yeah.
I mean,
then it's two siblings
more
for
than
sure.
me for sure.
Yeah.
More than me, too.
I'm scared of your beating because you're already a huge guy. So I'm wondering
there was a
if
moment,
your dad was beating you.
Well, there was a moment where he realized, like, oh, fuck.
I could kill this boy.
Because I outgrew him pretty quickly.
Okay.
I was like maybe
so
13 or something like that.
Really?
14.
So your parents aren't huge?
My dad's like
his dad's
6'1".
big. His dad's
Okay,
big.
yeah.
But comparatively, though, he's not.
Okay.
Like, we stood side by side. I'd be like, oh, look at the guy that looks like the little version of Mike almost.
Do you have a sister? Is she huge?
No, they're all normal size. I mean,
Okay.
they're like taller, but they're not like.
Very tall.
Dude, I would
I'm
imagine
5'6".
Michael's sister is just
They're
bearded.
tall. No, they're tall.
yeah,
They're
right?
tall. Yeah. What are you talking about? They got
Dude, I'm assuming Game of Thrones Hodor sister. That's
to me,
what I'm.
they're
5'8",
they're
5'9".
normal sized people because I'm bigger
You're
than them all.
huge.
I know. I have no.
Michael, you're fucking huge. Dude.
I have no point of reference.
But Michael's the only one of those dudes who doesn't carry himself as a huge guy.
Until I need to.
Yeah. Oh, you got into fights growing up?
Did you hear how he said that? Yeah. Let's not go there.
That went a lower register too. He's like, until I need to, and I'm like,
Well, and you know what? That
Definitely.
you don't realize that.
Yeah.
Nobody realizes that. But I have a fighting background, and I don't like to use it.
Let me ask
That's
you.
interesting.
Let me ask you a question. We'll get away from your parents for a little bit right now. You're always like happy,
sure,
right?
yeah,
I'm
no, but yeah.
Okay, no.
Okay.
This is what I'm gonna say. I'm sort of when I go out, I carry myself as happy, and it's not that I'm not happy, but I'm like I'm trying to like you sort of got to get into a groove when you're around people.
You want to hear the Pavone story real quick?
Do people
Okay.
think do people think that sometimes go Usama, this is a bit of a front?
Okay,
There's no
sure.
Do they?
Two things, right? One thing, I realized when I first met you, I thought you were the happiest guy on earth. I realized you weren't one day when I was in the back. I was on my phone watching YouTube during a Grizzly Pear show. Pavone comes to me. He like starts clapping in my face. He's like, "What are you doing? There's a show going on." He takes my phone. He walks away. I'm like,
Smart
"Wait,
guy.
this guy, he's in all cookies and cream here."
Cookies and cream. Yeah.
I feel the gamut of emotions. I feel all
Of
the
course,
things.
but you
know what I'm
don't.
saying?
You don't. It doesn't appear you are when you're
Yeah,
out.
I go all the way from comfortable to Sam Rubinoff. I'm that whole spectrum. I'm there, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Happy to Rubinoff is a great scale.
Happy to Rubinoff. But here's the thing. When I was a kid, I was got a little Sam roast there.
Now I'm here.
They know it. They can feel it. They can feel it. Dude, so I grew up very anxious. I was ugly kid. Girls would not be. They would kind of go out of their way to call me ugly. I was not a hot kid or a popular kid. So I had a lot of anxiety going to school. Every day was pain. If I met you in high school, if I was talking to you in high school, I would cover my face in a symbolic way because I hated my face.
Wow.
People thought I used to think my breath smelled. It was not that. I just had it was a manifestation. I would talk to you like this in high school. I just couldn't allow you to see my face because I was ashamed of it.
You know what's crazy is I've
Yeah.
seen people do that, and I never really. I was like, "There's something's wrong. Something's off here," because I
Right.
don't get it.
It's
I
just-
know one specific person I don't want to
Yeah.
name because people might know who he
It's
is.
just a way of
He
like
still does it.
covering your face as a comic, right?
Yeah.
When did you get to that point where you were like, I'm comfortable? Yeah,
Sure,
I'm sure it evolved over time. But.
So it was like, so in the beginning, I had a couple of friends that I was funny with, a couple of the crew. That first funny friend crew that you're like, oh, I can be myself.
Yeah.
That's when I was getting confidence. Oh, I can be a funny guy. In college, I got contacts. So that was like big. That changed up a little bit of the game. I got a little more confidence. Started being funnier and funnier. And as I got funnier, the hand left.
Nice.
Right? So
Do you think that there was a little bit of protective thing because of your way you were being
Pete.
raised? That there might have been something there that you didn't realize?
Now Albanese. I never made that connection. That's fascinating.
It's almost like a flinch reflex.
That's fucking interesting. Not ready for that. I need to have one of those therapy couches. But
would you
handle this? What?
Well, that's
Michael,
what we're doing.
Does he
here.
always do this? Mid podcast, he hits you with like, so is it because you're gay? And I'm like, oh fuck, oh shit, I'm gay.
Well, did you no matter how much like your parents might treat you like shit,
Right.
You still home is still the comforting spot. So you go to school, you're being terrorized. You go home, you're being terrorized.
He wasn't being terrorized at
At
home.
school, I think is more of an appropriate way of saying that.
School was way worse. I loved home. I love my mom. I love my dad. They were all loving.
Yeah.
It was just. There's a hum of like danger always in the home.
Yeah.
My mom would just go on a.
You always got to be on your toes there.
We used to love spring break. I hated it because it was like a week of my mom. You know what I'm saying?
So what would you do? Go ahead. Sorry.
So in school, when I started getting funnier and funnier, I started the hand started leaving. Started getting more confidence. Comedy was the way I could have self love. Before that, it was nothing. There was nothing that I liked about myself.
Because you're getting gratification that you otherwise might not have.
Exactly.
Been
I was a smart kid, but that never gave me anything. Made me feel good or anything. I was just like, my neuronal impulses were always fast. My dad was smart. I inherited some of that sort of just brain power.
Well, you say things like neuronal.
Neuronal, which is not a big word, by the way. I don't know if you know that.
We don't at all.
Yeah, we don't know what it is or that it's a big word. First time I've heard it.
Italians.
Was that type of pasta? A little neuronal and cheese.
You just want to know? Many guts. Okay. After that, I don't know what's going on.
Was it a strict household?
Yeah, so it was a
up?
strict household.
Were you allowed to like make decisions for yourself, or was it kind of like you're going to do what we say, and that's that, and you just kind of had to live under the rules?
Well, dude, it was that, but you, as a Desi kid, you pretty much learn very quickly to lie, like everything. Everything's got to be lie. So everything's got to be a project for school.
Wait, hold on. Let's unpack that for a second. You're saying you would lie to your parents?
He can't do things because he can't do regular things, so he has to say that it's through school. So he can do
so you would lie to your parents,
of course,
and that's like a common thing.
You ask any brown kid, any brown kid.
I try not to talk to them
because you'll end up saying curry or something. You're like, fuck, I kept saying curry in front of him.
Where were you guys going when you were lying? Were you guys hanging out in the woods?
We were crazy, dude. I had a bunch of dude friends. We were like sneaking out during the day and just like hot wiring 18-wheelers and shit. We were like,
so it was an immediate rejection of the culture that your parents wanted to have for you.
What they were about. Really? So I had a bunch of brown friends who were equally just like fed up with the suburban culture, bro. You're always trying to, as a kid, if you're not fucking, because the dudes who were fucking were always out there in the volleyball courts and just banging chicks. We didn't have that kind of release. So if you're a dude in high school who's not fucking, you start
Grand Theft Auto.
Of
course. You go right to robbing.
It's interesting.
As you do.
It's interesting because I obviously didn't grow up a Daisy kid. I didn't grow up with that culture. My entire existence was lying.
Right.
Was like, I want to do the thing I want to do, and so how do I get around the rule?
Was your parents were strict?
Say it again.
Your parents were strict.
They were strict, but not like crazy strict.
Right.
But I also felt like I couldn't just be me.
Yeah,
I couldn't do the thing I wanted to do.
It was all lie.
Because I was going to ask, it was that cultural because you grew up in a house that wasn't obviously like Western,
of course,
but you grew up, but you wanted to be a part of that. I grew up in America,
sure.
And I still was like, I want to do everything else. Like, I think it's always just like it's a push against whatever it is that your parents are trying to push on you. You push against.
Did you hang out mostly with Desi?
Yeah, brown kids, man.
No white kids. You don't really hang out.
I love white kids, but
I get it.
They never hung out with me. Back in the day, because Texas it was fucking in an oasis of Texas with a very high level school system. So, but it was a bunch of Asians and brown people, and so I was like, that was all you needed to have. Honestly, the white kids came to us. The nerdiest white kid, we'd like take the nerdiest white kid of that year, Evan. Come on in. And he's like, yeah, what and he's like, get in there. But and then if Evan had a lower GPA than Jack would get in. Get the fuck out of here, Evan. You're done. And then Jack is like, and now he's in. Right? But in general, it was a high level school system. A lot of brown kids. So I just grew up around brown kids, and we were all scrawny, who kind of like didn't have any girls. We all lived the same kind of nerdy lifestyle, huge gamers. and we just go out and just like wreak havoc. Because
did your folks ever like catch you in these lies?
No. We'd sneak out during the day. We'd sneak out at night out of the window, and we'd like steal.
Really?
We'd sneak into gas stations and steal that Budweiser cutout.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about? There's always like every gas station in
Yes,
Texas
yes,
used to have
yes.
this like Budweiser cutout of like this hot chick in Budweiser. You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
And
Cardboard cutout. Of a model. But
yes.
Yeah.
And we just steal them. We just go to, we just break in and we'd steal these.
It sounds pretty incredible that one generation, your parents moved, you're in Texas. Your parents were raising Daisy rednecks.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like you literally like this is Texas. I'm doing Texas shit immediately.
We call them maroon necks, you know, the brown and the red, such a mix.
I love a bunch of kids lying, saying that they're going to work on a science project. We got to build a volcano, and they steal a Bud Light cardboard cutout of a model.
Exploding Budweiser. Trying to drink it.
We got to make a volcano. We're still erupting. We're still erupting.
But how does that like now? Like how old are you?
I'm 31.
Okay, you're 31. You're fully formed adult.
Sure.
How has the stuff that you had and dealt with as a kid with the family and the mom and everything and the dad that you couldn't go to necessarily?
Right.
Like where do you see stuff in your life now that you're like, oh man, this is a direct result of the way I was raised and in that situation?
Oh, 100%, dude. My dad, I didn't know how to show love to my mom in a way that was like constructive a lot of times. He would always shit on her. I know you have one of those dads who are like always shitting on the wife constantly. But it's a way they like connect. It's like, I hate this. But really they're like, I love you, but this is how I talk to you.
That's how my dad was, yeah.
Bro, so I didn't realize this when I started dating that I was doing the same thing. That subconsciously I was like shitting on these women. We were going out dancing. I'd be like, that's a stupid dance move. What do you... And they'd be like, Dusa, why are you calling me out like this? And I'm like, it's just fun. We're just hanging out. And you realize, you look back, you're like, wait, no, this is how my dad showed love. And it's not okay. And you got to undo that shit. So a lot of shit like that.
But you're like a smart kid, and you pick up on these things.
Sure.
Do you notice people you grew up with? I don't know how close you are with the people that you grew up with. Yeah. They are acting like their parents, but they don't have that self-awareness. And do you tell them? Isn't it awkward to tell your buddy or something?
It never works, bro. We had every friend group has that one real fuck up, right? That just huffs glue, like real early, right? And my glue huffing friend was like genius, super smart dude. His dad was also a little, funky. He started going down that funky road. We tried, bro. You can't. Dude friends have no dominion over the other dude friends. It's hard for us to ever change their methods.
We're trying to do a podcast about it, for Christ's sakes, you know?
Here's the thing, dude. Female friends, God bless them. They're
Tell
able
us
to...
how it's not going to work as we bought all this equipment. Thank you so much for that.
Back it up. We're done.
I think it's that important, though. Because that's when we were... I mean, just behind the scenes, but when we were trying to figure out what we wanted to talk about, like the one thing that was constant was that we don't know how to process among each other. Like even like the three of us couldn't even like agree on a single thing because none of us wanted to be wrong. I don't even think it had anything to do about being right. It's just like I don't want to be the one that's wrong there. So it's like there's something here to unpack, and that's like how do we figure this out?
Dude, it's like interesting because there's a couple levels of this, right? Like a lot of dude friends now finally can say I love you without being like love you, bro. Like seriously, be like look our boy in the eyes and be like I love you, dude. You're fucking my guy, and I'm here for you. We're there. I think 2022 millennial dudes are finally there, but
it takes time for me. I need to get a couple drinks in. Bro. I gotta I only would say it over text maybe at first, and then no, seriously, and then
Sam's shaking his head.
Well, I mean, I'm obviously not gonna ever text Sam that I love him because I don't. But
Sam's the kind of dad. He's gonna be a dad who's gonna like pay for everything of his son, love him, and never say it until he dies.
No, it's tough though, man.
Swear to God, it's tough. It's tough. I don't say I love you to my parents. I can't say it. I've never said. Well, I've tried it once. I've tried it.
Wait, hold on.
I've tried saying I love you.
One more time.
I've said I love you to my parents maybe like 5 times in my life, and it was all a soft launch. Like, let me just see if this will work.
Is that because
were you behind a bush? You're like, I love you. Threw it in the air, and they were like, who the fuck was that? And just turned around.
I whispered it. Wait, what? Nothing.
Is that because they never told you that?
They never said I love you specifically. See, again, the actions are there, right? Actions speak louder than the words, sure.
Yeah, but sometimes the words are important.
Words are important. And my dad has never said to me, I love you. But I know he loves me with all his heart.
Yeah,
you know, and he shows it. It's not like he's distant anymore.
But does does that stay with you? Like, do you still feel the effects of never being told you were loved, or very like so infrequently that you can count it?
Well, because they showed me love and they gave me love and they hugged me. It wasn't like I still give love to people. It took me a long time to be able to say I love you to people that I loved. You know, like,
well, again, you have the benefit of being a smart guy that you could see, like, they're giving me everything that they need. They maybe don't come from the background of being expressive, but I understand their feelings and stuff. But
it's a weird thing, but like, there's levels again. Like, you can say I love you, right? But then dude friends is like, how do you? If dude friends can never affect someone else's, their friend groups. Like shitty as dude friend. It's always like, oh, what are you gonna do? This guy's going crazy. But have you ever been able to be like, sat down with somebody, which is one of your boys, and changed the trajectory? I've never had that. Only girls have done that.
I've yet to do that actually too. When we've tried, we've been like, buddy, come on, bro.
It doesn't work.
No,
it has to be a girlfriend or some sort of female. I guess that's what we allow. Maybe dudes who are closed off, we only allow women to come into that space.
To be fair, I haven't had a friend who hits rock bottom yet. So I so if
watching one or two slowly get there. Though. And by slowly, I mean on a fucking bullet train.
Isn't that right? Who's that?
Oh boy, why is there blood here?
Oh man. So. One of the things I'm curious about is, again, because you brought up the parents and like it's something that was important to you to want to talk about at least. Is there anything that, like looking back now, like the different punishments or the different things, the way they treated you, is there anything now, even as an adult, that you're like, man, that was still, like, anything stick out in your mind? You're like, man, that still was not. That was fucked up. And then on the other side of that, the other side of that, is there one that you're like, man, they were right on the money for getting mad at me for that, or like getting pissed off?
Sure. Okay, cool. Because it's a two-parter.
Yeah.
One time, my mom. We used to be in Boy Scouts, my little brother and I. So we were. One time, my mom wanted to dress us in Boy Scout clothes, and we had the Cub Scout Weebelo shit, and then take a photo shoot. Right. Me and my little brother, we're like always hanging out. We're joking. He's my main guy growing up. So something happened on SpongeBob or something that day that we were just losing our minds over. Like, it was the best joke. It was Patrick going like, what? Or something. And we were like, ah! So we just could not stop laughing this day. Always we did the same quote over and over. My mom was trying to get us to get this photo going. But we just kept laughing, having a good time. She could have done this photo an hour later. There's a lot of sun. And then she just... So we were laughing at the thing. She tried to get the pictures. We couldn't stay still. We were in our Boy Scout outfits. We started laughing. She's like, chill. We were laughing. She takes the camera, starts beating us with the camera. Okay.
I just so you know, I'm laughing because of the way you're presenting it. That's not funny.
It's hilarious,
but it's hilarious right in the moment.
To this day, a Kodak moment is just abuse to me. You mean when your mom hits you? Is that what a Kodak moment is?
So clearly that was unnecessary.
That was unnecessary. And here's the thing.
She turned it into a hardcore match, for Christ's sake. What the hell are you talking about?
She didn't break the camera.
And she pulled a sock out of her shorts and
sock. She's hitting him with socko.
At the end, she just took the pictures and we're crying and we're like, and she took the pictures and she has those pictures framed. So there's two pictures of me and my brother in Boy Scout outfits, but almost in tears. You know the moment
first black laugh on the podcast. I just did a spin. First BET black laugh on the podcast.
Can I get a hell yeah?
That was an Apollo.
Can I get a hell yeah?
Hell no,
dude.
She has the images.
Yeah. We're not in tears. She wipes it off and quickly. So it's like it's like. It's like she got the split second between moans.
You knew that. That thing.
It's like, click. All right, bitch. When I go back, I'll send you all the photos. It's like you'll see it.
Could we please get that photo?
You'll see like the intensity of
I pray that right now you're watching this and you're looking at the photo. That's really.
So that was
really
one
crazy.
where it was like not necessary, probably.
No, not at all. You were having a good time. She did it. The pictures of you laughing and smiling are better than you.
100%.
Almost. You're in a lot of pain.
Exactly.
I don't know how much pain you're in, but you have hit with a camera.
That camera still works today. So if there was ever a advertisement for Kodak.
It's a film camera, too. That's a lot of weight.
Instead of these iPhone-y ads, just show a mom beating their kid, taking a picture, it still works.
Holy hell. And then on the flip side.
Sure.
Because me and Mike were talking about this, how shitty it is when you were not resentful. What's the word? When you were like,
when you look back and you realize like, oh man, fuck you for that.
You're
Yeah,
like
resentful is the
you're a
word.
rebel and be like, fuck that. I mean, my parents don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
They're old. They don't know anything. Then you get to the point, you're like, oh, they were right. And then
Yeah.
you gotta
Yeah.
you gotta pick up the phone. I call my dad. I go, you know what?
Yeah.
You fucking got me. This one was right. You were right on this one.
Is this one your entire life? Okay, this one, the 18 years.
No, but seriously, there's times where I'm like, you know what? You told me this advice. I told you you're an idiot.
100%.
And here it is.
Is there
Of course,
because
of
it feels
course,
like
man.
in a situation like that, it's like, fuck you for everything.
Sure,
but
sure.
like, are you able to hone in on
Dude,
like
of course.
an instance?
Dude, when I first I got into med school, Texas A&M.
You did?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Holy
8 years ago.
shit.
You can say Curry once now, because that is a Curry moment right there. So
Is that the moment? Is that the new Kodak moment? It's a Curry moment. A Bangladeshi mother beating her son with a Panasonic.
Throws the
Curry moments.
who just got into med
Curry
school?
in the eyes.
The graduation tassel's still there.
Dripping in blood.
Curry in the eye, Ric Flair. Hits him with the camera. Yeah, God.
Wait, that's a big deal, though. That's a big
That's
moment.
an enormous
How
deal.
do they
dude.
treat
So
that?
it was huge, right? When I got in, this is 8 years ago when I got in, it was huge.
That's when you started doing comedy.
So I started comedy junior year of college. Got into med school like end of junior year
Oh my God.
Senior year, and then I got in. I was gonna go, didn't end up going for comedy, right? But before I left, so what I did was I got into med school, right? And when you get into med school, you have an option of deferring, right? Deferring means you have a year off.
Take some time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have like a really specific medical issue.
Rumspringa. That's when the Amish people leave Amish town to go to explore their options.
That is that's the brown
Yeah.
Rumspringa.
Yeah.
So that was so deep. What the, I don't know.
didn't know.
Whoa, even Sam's like, that's too deep for me, dude. Jesus Christ.
Never heard of
I'm not even gonna say it. No.
Never heard of
Why?
rum.
I don't know what's
Okay,
going on
okay,
with
gotcha.
the Amish. What the hell do I
Keep
know
the
what's going
tabs
on?
open, dude, on Amish.net.
So anyways, yeah, you got this year off.
You're off.
Okay.
And so day before I was gonna leave, I didn't do it right. Now I know, because for me, I was like, yo, fuck them. They're not gonna understand. I kept it a secret. I was just accruing money on the side very secretly. They thought I was deferring for a different reason. So I was like, I'm just gonna do a work here at this scribe office.
Right,
I wasn't.
right.
I was at Jimmy John's, like making money. I was lying to them. But I was like, fuck them. They don't get it. They don't know me. They're not going to say yes. Same lying shit that I grew up with, right? Finally, it was time where either I go to med school or I fucking go to New York. And it was no way out. I bought a ticket. I'm like, I have to tell my parents that I'm not going to med school.
You're leaving.
Wow.
Hey, I'm leaving.
That's a stressful.
I was thinking I was going to just tell them I was going to go to med school and just not do it. I was that level of like ready to fuck it up like that.
That's crazy that we have to,
Dude,
lie like that.
Bro,
Just, like,
it's insane, dude. But anyway, so I go downstairs one day, and this is like I have my ticket ready for a quick escape. I have everything packed up. I'm like ready in case I got to run, and I go down, and my parents are like, they're sitting down watching TV, and they have that our son's going to med school glow. You know what I'm saying? There's like, we may, 777s on the kid. We did it.
Yeah.
We beat him just the right amount. Not too much that he's like, jacking off to.
Your mom's like this. Give these little bubbles a break.
Yeah, still smoking, you know what I'm saying? All right?
The wooden spoon. The thing's off, but now it's the camera. Nodding.
All that, right? She just like chilling out. I did my job, right? I go downstairs and I'm just like, Mom, Dad, I'm not going to do med school. I'm going to New York to do comedy, right? It didn't even register the first time. It didn't even, she goes back to playing with her knuckles. She's like, okay. Right?
She's taking the tape off. She's like,
the tape rewind. The tape rewind. So it's amazing. It's amazing. It's labeled Usama's face, and so she.
We're laughing way too much.
This is crazy.
It's the most traumatic shit
it's
ever.
Great. It's great.
I'm like anxious. You gotta go.
This is how I interact with my own life. It's great that y'all laughing. So I told him, and the second time I told him, it just stopped. Right, it fucking stopped. And my mom was like, it was like a real pin drop. They're like, what? And in this moment, I'm telling you, I was like, fuck you. I had no empathy for telling them a day before leaving to med school. That's not cool.
No,
that is not a cool.
no.
Yeah, but that's
thing.
a symptom. That's a symptom of a larger problem that they created. They
That's a
created
build-up.
that.
That's a build-up.
They created that.
But still,
build
yes.
or not, there's still an obligation that like you tell your parents where you're going the day, not the day before, and a
Correct.
big life thing. So I told her. My mom walks back to the kitchen, starts throwing shit at me immediately, just random pans and shit. My dad, single dad tier, right? I thought you were going to help people, and then I told my dad, I was like, listen. Just me not being a doctor doesn't mean I'm going to help people. I can do something else and have that same level of nobility and care in my life. It doesn't have to be through doctor. And she just did not. It was a lot of screaming. I tried to talk some sense. I was like, "Fuck you! You don't get it." I ran upstairs and it was like a just intense situation. I left New York to New York without really resolving it.
Oh wow!
You know, it was 7 years ago. I didn't hug my mom. We cried. My dad was like sleeping. We didn't really have a moment. We had kind of a
did hug your mom or did not?
I did.
Okay.
Hugged my dad too, but it was not solved by any means. It was very, very negative, and I carried that to me with me to New York. So like, I'm a kid. I'm 23. I don't know anything about this world. I have no money, and I just I lost my parents for a second, which is the stupidest move you could ever do. And you have nobody. Your parents are the only ones who are really always there for you.
Unresolved.
Yeah, unresolved
Conflict with your parents,
is
and then
not-
leaving, and then moving across the country is tough.
It's brutal. It's not a way of life. People do it here. A lot of New Yorkers, you go to Bushwick, you go to Cobra Club. A lot of those kids hate their dad still. It's like, bro,
That's not how.
figure it out.
And I think a lesson from that is like, you're not alone.
Yeah.
When you're feeling like there's unresolved and trauma with your parents,
But
like
that's not-
There's so many more people out there,
But that's not anyone here. Like I feel like.
Yeah.
You left. You came here.
Yeah.
Have you since had a?
Of course.
Yeah.
It's been 7
What did
years.
that look like?
It was like slowly they realized I was serious about this. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
The credits they wanted, obviously, something to tell their friends that okay, he's not a fucking loser. But before that, they started realizing, okay, this guy's really doing this.
Yeah.
And that's when it slowly started.
But did that take you to then? Like, was that your goal to like? I need to get here for my career, but also I need to prove to them that I made the right choice.
Well, when I left, I severed all ties of trying to please them.
Oh, okay.
Because I was like, 'cause it was such a harrowing thing. And again, it wasn't. I'm saying it. It wasn't. Like they didn't push me out.
But you didn't consciously. Was that conscious? Like I'm going here for me, fuck them, or did
it was?
Did you come to that later on?
No. It was, the moment I left, I was like, "We're done. We're not catering to their whims anymore. I'm out." Because then I'd be making comedy for them.
That's huge.
You know.
But that's a big. That's like a monumental thing to be able to do. Like I think so many people still have that. Like I can't. Or I need to, so that way they know or think that I'm doing a certain thing or whatever.
Here's the thing, so many comics would be funnier if they didn't have their parents to think about. A lot of comics are like, oh, but what if my dad sees this? And now you're not going to the funniest level you can go to. So I never wanted to be that. I was like, let me do whatever I want. It's the only way I'm going to be the funniest I can be.
Yeah.
And that's essential because you see other comics who don't live like that. So I severed all ties emotionally. Like they're not going to have any dominion. Slowly. Because my first special that I put out is going to ruin my family. It's going to ruin everything because I talk about sex that they don't really know that I have.
Yeah.
I talk about banging. I talk about fucking all this shit.
Have you prepared them for this, or is it going to be one of these med school last date things?
My mom thinks I'm a virgin. I don't know when I'm going to tell her that I'm beyond not. But
yeah, but I guess some of that's also on them. Like they're adults.
They have to know too.
They're
yeah,
adults.
exactly.
31-year-olds.
In New York.
I'm a Steve Carell from come on. I'm fucking mom. Mom, I'm fucking. Mom.
Or she's on those stand-up, those Facebook stand-up communities, and she's like, oh, maybe he's definitely a virgin. I'm looking at the other people on this group. I'm seeing what they're writing. I'm reading what they're seeing here. This is insane.
You know, Aaron Glazer's mom wasn't like, oh, my son's probably raping, you know? They don't really think that.
That will be bleeped.
What?
Wow.
Do not bleep
Make it louder, Sam.
No. He took UCB down. He's going to take our cameras. They're going to walk in here and take our lenses, for Christ's sake.
You can bleep that. But yeah, what I'm saying is that it was wrong. I was wrong for being so on the edge about it. Yeah, I understand where he's coming from and why I did it, but it's still wrong in my opinion.
So this kind of leads into how I wanted to kind of bring this. Yeah. We were talking about bringing this to like a kind of a conclusion, if there could be one. It's the perfect example is the special that you're going to do, that you're coming out. That's going to reveal to your parents who you really are, kind of.
Yeah.
Now going through everything you did growing up with your parents, saying, I don't care what you think anymore, I'm doing this for me. How will your approach to that now be to them to say, this is who it is. This is who I am. And do you think that you have the skills to not revert back to a child? And it's like, fuck you, you fucking suck.
Fuck you, you fuck.
Yeah, fuck you. But it's like, how do you think that you will try to change? Because there needs to be some sort of seismic shift that we have to do in order to be different, better than whatever it is.
Yeah.
And not become the same people that they were, that you're running from. So do you have
100%
a thought on that?
Basically, before that special comes out, in whatever form, it's just going to be an hour of whatever. It's the first thing that's going to be like visible to them as like a body of stand-up work. They're not on Instagram. They're not doing Instagram. They don't see the jokes. The special they're going to watch. It's a big product. So the big thing is the Desi community, everywhere we grew up is very like,
chit-chatty.
Panopticon, you know, everyone's looking at everybody, right? Everyone's got, the energy. So they're scared of them.
Yeah, that's...
Wow.
So I got to tell them, like, listen, Mom, Dad, before the special comes out, I'm going to tell you, like, they're not going to like the special. They're all going to watch it because I'm the only Bengali doing this. Really one of the only Bengalis doing this. So all Bengalis going to watch the special. They all watch the AGT. Every Bengali in the world knows me now because of AGT because I was the first Bengali guy to do it.
Right.
So they're going to watch the special and they're going to hate it. Because it's not by any means. I talk about like I'm shitting on Islam, I'm shitting on everything, dude.
Are you? Do you actually know they're gonna hate it, or are you doing this thing in your mind again where you're
maybe? But the idea is that the conservative factions are not going to enjoy it, right? And that's enough for my mom to get angry.
Yeah.
But when she does get angry, which she will, I'll tell them like, hey, this is who I am. This is what I did. And dude, I already know what I'm doing with my life. So if y'all are in, you're in. If you're not, you're still in. I'm going to make sure y'all are in.
Exactly.
I can be more forceful. I can BDSM my way into their hearts,
Yeah.
So you think that no matter what, whether they reject you, your career, whatever, you're not going to allow that rejection to not let them be your mom, your dad, whatever.
Yeah, it's done. Because she'll kick and scream, but my mom...
What are your parents... really their core values? What when you look at your parents, what do you see? Like, I know my parents, obviously making money and doing well is important, but I know they want me to be a good person and be happy above the other stuff. So if you're on stage and you're making people laugh and you have a following and people love you and you're bringing joy to people, do you think that maybe that would trump your material and what the communities? Could that happen?
It's starting to. So
okay, nice.
After AGT, after some things, you finally start getting the love from the community who are like, I saw your kid, you're doing great, amazing. Because I do a joke about open relationships in the AGT thing. So like, there's got to be my dad's not dumb. Come on, hello.
The breadcrumbs are there.
We're not playing Scrabble,
of course, yeah.
So that idea of like, once the community knows they're giving the love, my mom is now proud. My dad is now proud. She just
needs to see that there is success outside of what you say.
Right.
So if she sees the success around you, then she will believe that
it's
you're
already
successful.
happening. So she already is proud. My dad, we've traversed a lot of these issues that we talked about. A lot more love is going around. A lot more openness is going around. And so it's going to be a bombshell when the smegma bit comes out. You know what I'm saying? When the anal with a minor bit. JK.
Glazer? No, I'm kidding.
So let me ask you this: if there's any way that you if somebody out there is dealing with trauma from parents or a traumatic childhood, and can you give like one solid piece of advice that's like, hey, if I could say anything, here's what I would say to do, and it's gonna suck. Or whatever it is, but like this is the best way that you can personally deal with these type of issues. Is there any piece of advice you could give?
Dodge. For real, it's about don't think your parents don't know that you can talk. That's the main thing I realized is that in my later life, when I've sat my mom down and been like, this is what's going on in my life and this is why I hate you doing this, she'll always reference that day of that big talk. And I'm like, oh, you did listen.
Yeah.
You did. So no matter how insane it seems, no matter how crazy your fucking dad is, old school Polish war veteran, or whatever the fuck, if you just sit him down and talk, I swear to God, they're going to listen. And even if you don't think it's going to work that day, it's going to bury itself in there and it's going to change them in some way. It's always worth it to sit him down and talk. Like, I didn't do that growing up, and it was the worst thing I could have done. because it just kept getting worse and worse.
Bro, you're awesome. You're amazing.
That was solid advice to be able to say,
Yeah.
like, just
I'm very happy
calmly.
for you.
Yeah, thank you.
And what's interesting is that in researching some of these things, some of the solutions were understand that they can hear you.
Yeah.
Figure out what you want to resolve from that conversation. Don't yell, and know that you're going to get through it.
Yeah.
And then the biggest one was take a deep breath and then calmly say it.
Whoa, you gotta yell a bit. Dude, I'm more thrilled. I'm happy. I hope your special goes great, and it will. But I know for a fact your parents are gonna be super proud of you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
for sure.
Appreciate you.
As long as they don't listen to it.
Yeah. Because it's bad comedy.
Well, no, it has nothing to do with the topics. It's really unfunny.
The offensive part of the smegma joke was that there was no laugh lines. So set up, man.
My favorite part of the whole episode though was like, you can't just tell your guy friends when something's wrong and resolve it. You need a woman there. And I'm like, oh my god, yes, you need a woman.
Dude, we do, and we're not evolved yet to like accept dude advice, and it's not okay. It's not okay, dude. It's not
Usama,
okay.
thank you so much for doing
Likewise.
this and opening up. And
Yeah.
I feel like we got some pretty good stuff out of
good
this.
stuff.
And we'll do this again. We'll talk more maybe some other time. Tia, where do we plug
Instagram,
in?
Mango, all that.
Usama Siddiquee at Usama Stands Up on IG, at Mango Bae, at Your Mango Bae on IG. It's a podcast, also a new podcast I started called Why Do Guys, at Why Do Guys. Check it out.
Awesome.
You're the best, man. Thanks so much for doing this.
Much love. I'll see you guys.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you so much.